Lesley-Anne Down, thank you so much for being here on the Making Reagan podcast. We did make Reagan today, and today's your last day before you head home. What a treat it was to have you here. Would you just give the listeners your first thoughts, having just literally finished half an hour ago?
I have absolutely no idea how Margaret Thatcher did it for the 11 years that she did it, because doing her for 2 days almost killed me. Her intensity, her intelligence, her sense, her drive. I just cannot imagine how she did it. I could not keep up with her. My energy was depleted just saying somebody else's words and trying to give her as much realism as I possibly could. As far as doing the movie was concerned, I was thrilled after you saw my silly little rendition in my kitchen that I sent to you, that you asked me to do it. I could not believe it, because I just never in a million years thought that I could even begin to be considered, never get the job and then have to sort of go through the machinations of pulling it off. But I was so thrilled and so scared and so nervous, and even though I only had to do 2 days work, 2 and a little tiny bit scenes, I have never put so much energy and time into anything really in my life, except for one other project I did years and years and years and years ago, playing somebody that was a real person also, and I played her over a period of 40 years, and so that was hard. But for me, this was, it was very hard and incredibly rewarding, not just because I love her anyway, but it was very rewarding because everybody on the film that I got the pleasure to work with was at the very top of their game and very bright and filmmakers, unlike a lot of things that you do today, where people just think they're it and their job is it and they don't listen. And this is a very collaborative film, and only great things come out of collaboration, as is evident between Reagan and Thatcher. Great things came out of them.
Much like the real Reagan and Thatcher, I felt like you and Dennis were each upping your game. Each was upping the other person's game. Did you get that sense at all?
I don't know what his game is. I just think that he's a great actor anyway. So I wasn't sure that in any way, shape or form his game was upped because we were together. But I did feel that we had a simpatico, that we instantly just felt comfortable with each other, which is nice, because I don't feel comfortable with people straight away. I'm a very insular sort of person, and strangely enough, even though I don't come across as such, I'm kind of shy. But with Dennis, I didn't feel that. It was a simpatico straight away, and not too serious, which is also nice. I like actors that are not too serious. I worked with Anthony Hopkins twice, and back to back actually, on television movies back in the 80s or whatever, and not a method actor at all. We'd be standing outside a door ready to go in to do some big heavy duty scene, and right before they said action, he'd just rip off a joke, and then we'd laugh and the door would open and boom, we'd be into the scene. And I felt that Dennis was like that. Obviously people study and they work on things, but that kind of method where you can't be spoken to because you're in your character and you're about to shoot, I didn't feel that at all. Not at all. And Sean, of course, the director, was just lovely. All I can say about Sean is brilliant. So after every take, right, they go, brilliant, genius, brilliant, right. Next, let's do it again, brilliant.
Right. What about Lady Thatcher? When what did she mean to you in your life, and how did you react to her when she became Prime Minister?
Well, I was young-ish anyway, and really like most young people even today, so it's kind of a mirror thing. When you're young, you really don't know very much. And what sounds good to you when you're young is really a free ride. I mean, young people, they don't want to just start at home, right? They don't want to make their bed. They don't want to put the things in the dishwasher. They don't want to, vacuum. They just, any work is going to be given to them, and it's like, phew, they're out of there. So there's no real work ethic when you're very young, and politically, she demanded a work ethic, and she was not a give it to you just because you say you want it and you don't want to go out and get a job. And she obviously was very right-wing, and as a young person, I was not right-wing, left-wing, which, of course, in retrospect, and quite a number of years later, 40, 50 years later, and having lived through a lot of political turmoil on this planet, my views have utterly done a 180, and I, a while back, quite a number of years back, saw her for what I truly believe she is, which is a great statesman and somebody that I don't think we realised just how lucky we were to have her at the time that we had her. And I just think the woman was an absolute masterful politician. She was a chemist. She went to Oxford. She was a chemist. She became a barrister, which is lawyer in America. I mean, the talent of the human being to go up against a parliament, a society that was totally male-run back then. There was no other women around. Totally male-run. And she was a miracle woman, and I seriously wish she was around today. Isn't that awesome? I do. I love her. I mean, I think her politics, obviously there were some things that you look back on and you go, well, perhaps it was a bit much, whatever. But 80% of everything that she believed and she was preaching and wanted for Great Britain, I absolutely agree with.
So how did you set out to play her? There's obviously been other people that have played her
over
the years. Do you, by the way, do you ignore those performances, or do you watch them, and how did you prepare for this role?
No, I did not. If you're talking about Meryl Streep in The Iron Lady, I did not, because may I say that it's very difficult to outdo Meryl. There's no way. And what Meryl had to do was an encompassing situation. I didn't have to do an encompassing situation of the woman's life. I had to be somebody that just made people feel the person. I had to get across her politics and her spirit. So really looking like her, which I don't, wasn't even an option. It was just create a feeling of the woman. So no, I did not watch Meryl, but I did, of course, watch absolutely everything I could get on good old YouTube. And I studied her for a tone of her voice, which I think I managed to get sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes. But I studied her for her intensity and when she smiled and when she didn't smile, and if she smiled, what was she actually saying when she smiled. So yes, I watched everything I possibly could.
And we saw your tape, obviously. You were gracious enough to do that. And did you feel, were there any surprises along the way as you began to develop the character and looking for things? Did anything surprise you or
Well, honestly and truly, it wasn't so much as a surprise. It was more of almost like a creeping fear, because as I said, the woman is so intense and so amazing, and I don't think that I'm intense or amazing. And so every time I watched anything of her, I would just go, oh expletive. How expletive am I going to do this? And that's all I can absolutely say to you. I just kind of worked through my fear with her and got to a point where I just felt like her. That's all. I just felt like
You have had an amazing career. Surely you know that. And you've played so many characters and worked with so many interesting and talented people. What stands out? What are some of your personal highlights from this career you've had?
That's an interesting question. It depends on whether you want the funny ones or the serious ones or the ones that changed your life, or how about all the ones that you didn't do that would have changed your life enormously.
That you said no to?
Seriously, that's a much better career than the actual one I
Tell us a few of those before you answer the other question.
Well, I was doing a movie called A Little Night Music with Elizabeth Taylor and the darling, sadly now deceased a few days ago, Diana Rigg. And I'd gone and done something in LA, I thought it was a commercial interview or something, but no. I had the entire William Morris agency on the phone to me in my little room in Vienna. And I remember at that particular time I had 2 spots, pimples on my chin, which just made me feel ugly and huge, and pimples and all. So I was 22. And they had asked me, Estee Lauder had called, and they wanted me to be the new Estee Lauder girl for, in those days, a lot of money, $5 million. And I'm sitting on the floor going, but I've got pimples. I can't. I turned it down. And then they asked me to do, very shortly after that, 2 James Bond movies back to back. Turned them down. Oh no, I couldn't possibly be a Bond girl. I wanted to be a, guess what, actress.
So that wasn't about the money. That was about
being an actress, right? That was pretty stupid. But anyway, those are some. And then, of course, I went through a very contentious divorce with my ex-husband, William Friedkin, and he was trying to get my kid, and it was just a nightmare. And of course, I was not going to give up my kid, and my kid didn't want to not be with his mother. He was very, very, very attached to me, and so I had to stay in LA because of what the courts and blah blah, everything was going on. So because of that, I had to turn down The Thornbirds, and I had to turn down the second miniseries of Winds of War, and the television miniseries The Bourne Identity with Richard Chamberlain, and the list goes on.
Because it required travel.
Well, I could have gone, but my kid couldn't have gone, and it was months and months and months and months, and I would not leave my child. I just wouldn't. So so and on the other side of things, the best things that I can talk about are the people that I've worked with. Sir John Gielgud and Laurence Olivier, of course, I don't even know whether people know who they are anymore, but utter geniuses in very, very different ways. One of them very method actor, and one of them, Sir Laurence, just get on with it, say the lines, for God's sake, that's why we're here. And just such a sweet man, and so funny. And I had known him before. He'd come see a play I did, and everything. We had dinner. He was lovely. And again, Anthony Hopkins, another genius man. And then I remember when I did a movie with Harrison Ford, Hanover Street. We were filming in England in the cinema right opposite the studios, Bray Studios. Star Wars had just come out. I mean, literally just come out 2-3 days before. And every lunch we'd nip over to the cinema together, and we'd stand looking through. They had little portholes. Do you remember those doors? And little portholes and we'd stand and we'd both be peering through the portholes to see how the people were reacting to it. And of course, genius success. But Harrison he's a very sweet man, Harrison. He's very sweet, very kind of normal. And
other work you've done in television, and then various series as well. What when you're stopped on the street, what do people ask you about? Which role do you think resonated most, at least in the U.S.?
Number one, I have never, ever, ever, ever been stopped on the street.
I don't believe that for
But
one
no,
second.
because I do not look in reality like I do on the screen. I don't. I just look like, I don't wear makeup, I don't do my hair, I don't have whatever. I'm not a recognizable person particularly. I don't think so. Well, nobody's ever done that. But then on the other hand, in England, I remember walking down the King's Road once behind Mick Jagger when he was at Jerry Hall, and they were walking down the street, and I'm right behind them, and people kind of looking, but then they look away. Not one person said, Mick, can I have your autograph? So in England, people are not like that. And in America, well, where I come from, in Los Angeles, hello, when do you ever walk down the street?
That's true. That's true. But your characters are big, and so you just enjoy that anonymity. So you
Yes,
have
I
a different
do.
look.
No, I do like anonymity. I never actually really wanted to be in this industry. It sort of just happened. I seriously wanted to be a missionary. I know. I was terribly religious. I mean, hugely religious. And I mean, I went to church every single day when I was a child up until I was blah, 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 and had huge religious kind of experiences, which, of course, I know that they would put down to the fact that I'm a girl.
Well, I was raised as a missionary's kid.
Oh, were you?
I was in Japan, so I know what that experience is like.
Oh, I know.
It's a great experience.
I do feel that we are everything, well, not everything, but so much that is wrong with the world is because we've kicked religion out or made religion an embarrassment. People are embarrassed to say that they're religious or they believe in God or whatever. Quite frankly, I would much rather believe in God than Congress.
God or Congress? That's quite the choice. I think
Yeah.
Most people would probably go with God over Congress. Right?
I would.
Yeah. Lesley, I felt that you were extraordinarily prepared for this role. You had the lines all down. You had everything you wanted to do. I felt like you showed up with your game on. Is that, obviously, I think you would agree with that. Is that the way you always prepare, or was this something different?
This was something different. I felt that there was absolutely no way to pull this off without getting every single action, nuance, expression, how the line should be said, where the emphasis should be said, down to a T, because I am not her, because I'm nothing like her, because I don't sound like her, because I don't look like her, blah, blah, blah. So I had to get it to a point so that I didn't have to work on it. I had to work to get it to a point where it was just like watching a movie, if you like, because I knew I couldn't possibly walk on that set as one generally does and just know the lines and rehearse and then, find your moments, whatever. That just wasn't possible for this. It had to be utterly specific, physically and verbally, utterly specific. Otherwise, it would have just been me, and that wasn't the deal. And I don't know whether everybody can hear the brum brum brum.
Yes.
The cute little Harley guys who are outside because it's Saturday night.
For our listeners, we are in Guthrie, Oklahoma.
Oklahoma, where the wind comes.
And we're right
rushing
across from some kind of a Harley Davidson gathering on a Saturday night.
Yep, and they're all in there going broom broom and
I
having
do
a beer.
love the fact that, obviously, you were raised in another country, and I was too. But I love the fact that this new era of filmmaking, because of tax incentives in various states, we're plunked right in the middle of middle America. And it's not flyover country, it's not New York, LA. We're literally here with great people. We get to meet in restaurants and everything. By the way, let's talk about COVID for a little bit, because this is such a strange experience for all of us, I think. Remember when you first arrived, I had to break the bad news to you that you can't go to restaurants and you can't go to Walmart and you can't get this pickup, we have a shopper for you.
Yes.
Which is nice, but sometimes you like to pop in here and do that. But how has it been like making a COVID movie where we've got masks on most of the time and you can't even see people? What has it been like for you compared to a normal set?
Oh, I seriously, because we are now in the end of September and we've all been going through this for many, many months now, and we'll be going through it for many, many more, maybe a year, maybe longer, who knows.
We do have to get this movie out, so we do need to let up at some point.
I didn't find it strange at all. I'm completely used to all the mask stuff, wearing one, looking at people with one. No, didn't find it at all difficult at all. I mean, you have a swab stuck up your nose every couple of days or down your throat. That's sort of a joy, haha. But no, it didn't. It was, and you guys, seriously, how you organised it and the safety and how the food is given to everybody, because you can't just go buffet style. Yeah. No, none of that.
And even right now, we're sitting across from each other with a big
old screen
plexiglass thing in front of
us.
Our safety coordinator said she would allow this, but only if there was a big plexiglass screen between us.
Oh my goodness.
So even now we can at least see each other. But
yes, we've got that. It's a very big one, actually.
Right.
It's the biggest one I've ever seen. Bigger than the bank.
The bank. I didn't think of it. This is like the bank, isn't
I know.
it?
Where's my money?
You're afraid I'm going to jump over and rob you, so we have this little glass.
I sent you that text. I said, you said, oh, you were so good on the first day. I said, well, thank you very much. You're going to give me any more money.
Right. No, so I'm glad to hear that you didn't feel that it was too weird, because it is a little strange. Would you talk about your life right now? You have a husband that you're moving to the East Coast fairly soon from Los Angeles. Is this a lot of my friends are leaving Los Angeles? Is this one of these people? Are you one of these people who is getting out of LA because of the fires and this and that, or do you have other reasons for moving east?
I would say that 75% of it is because I haven't liked California for a long time. I don't actually like the politics of California, which it's nothing. Maybe I'm moving to somewhere else. I don't like the politics. I don't know, but I don't like the politics. And more than not liking the politics, what I actually have found, I live in a really nice little neighborhood, and you meet people and you talk to people on the street, and it's not that you know them very well, but with COVID, whatever, we've all been stopping with our masks and chatting. And what I found, because we're in an election year, is if you say the correct thing, people say, oh my God, I've been so afraid to say that I want to vote for Trump. And it's just extraordinary. I don't really, I'm very worried about being in a country where people are fearful of speaking about their political leanings, because the last time that I can see in history that happened in a Western country was when Adolf Hitler got into power. And I know people are now going, oh, shoot her. What a stupid thing to say. But it's actually not a stupid thing to say, because at that particular time, people who didn't like Adolf couldn't and didn't say it. They were silent and quiet. And it's not that everybody, but there is a lot of people out there that are frightened or worried to say what their political standing is. I mean, I know somebody who actually has a Biden sticker on his car who's going to vote for Trump.
Is that
because
right?
he's scared. He doesn't want to put a Trump sticker on. I mean, I don't care. You can vote for whoever you want. But what I do care about is the fear factor. I think that's highly dangerous. Well, as you know, we've tried to make this film in a way that would appeal to different folks. But what I loved in one of the scenes, as you'll recall, is Reagan and Tip O'Neill had this relationship where they would fight like cats and dogs, and Reagan would often say to O'Neill, is it 6 o'clock yet? And O'Neill would say, what does it matter what time it is? We've got to get through this issue. And he said, well, if it's 6 o'clock, we're friends again, and we're going to go out and have a drink or whatever it might be. And I think we've lost that sense in this country. Hello?
That we argue till 6 o'clock and then we're friends again, right? It goes past 6 o'clock. It goes to midnight. It goes 24 hours a day. Yes. That everyone has to hate each other.
And there's not, and even the word argue is, I mean, how about a discussion? That's something that doesn't happen. If you get two people that are of opposite ends, it tends just to very quickly elevate into just an accusatory screaming match. I mean, seriously, I think I have friends, of course I have a lot of friends and people, and when we talk about Trump or Biden or whatever, and they say, oh, I can't stand Trump. I understand why people don't like him. I get that. That's fine. But if you say, why don't you like him? They say, because he's just awful. Okay, he's just awful. So what has he done that's awful? How about everything? It's very difficult to get specifics out of people. But enough of that.
Were we ever? We watch British Parliament, and they're always yelling and screaming at each other. So maybe this is normal. Maybe this is normal and throughout history. I remember Winston Churchill once said he said, Mr. Attlee is a very modest man, but then he has very much to be modest about. He's sort of insulting. Maybe this was the way it was, and we've been too Pollyannish. I don't. What do you think?
I think a lot more discussion went on, and I think that there was a lot more intelligence.
Intelligent debate back and forth. Right.
I really don't. I think today it's
kind of attacks on ad hominem attacks.
Yes, and I don't know. I just don't feel that they've really got our backs.
Well, can I ask you just kind of overall, as far as the film, what was your takeaway? What did we learn from Ronald Reagan and Margaret Thatcher, from these great characters? Like, what can we take away? What will the viewer take away, do you think? Or what did you take away, maybe?
Well, I would say that if you're talking about the film, which is what we're talking about, and I do hope that people see the film and embrace it as, there go the Harley people again, and embrace it as a snapshot of a great man's life, with snapshots of everybody that he came into contact with and that helped or didn't help him, and his relationship with his wife. And I hope that they come away with it understanding that he truly was a caring man that cared about the American people, and that Margaret was a caring woman who cared about the British people, and together they were an absolute brilliant genius force for the good of the people, not necessarily with I'm so hot, my brain's gone peculiar. Not necessarily with all of the ideals that people would agree with, but I just think that their truth and their love for their people and their country, and the lack of caring about themselves and their own careers personally, I hope that comes across. And hopefully when people walk out of the movie, they will look at what they've just seen and look at Reagan and go, good grief, do we need him today or not?
Last addendum question. I thought there was a scene that I don't think was in the film, but it was in some of the preparation that I had read about Lady Thatcher, and that was that she was not afraid to tell President Reagan off. And on the phone, in person, she did not hesitate at all. She was a very strong woman. And I think Reagan gravitated towards strong women. His mother was a very strong woman. His wife was a very strong woman. And Lady Thatcher was a strong woman. But I recall there was one scene when he was being excoriated by her on the telephone one time. And he put the phone away, and he turned to his aides and he said, "Isn't she great?" And then put it back to his ear as she yelled at him again.
Okay, what was that word you used?
Excoriated.
Oh my God.
I've always wanted to use that in conversation.
You used it really well. Write it down. I'm going to learn that one.
But, as the father of daughters, I always tell them, I want you to be strong. There's nobody telling you, let people roll over. We want you to be strong women. Talk about that a little bit in your own life and your career, the characters you've played, yourself. How does one become a strong woman? And what has that journey been like for you? Because I think you're a strong woman as well.
Well, yeah, maybe. Yes, I'm a strong woman now. I never used to be. Well, I don't know. I think I was a strong woman. It's just that society didn't enable one to show one's strength. I think, seriously, if I ever wrote a book, which I have been asked to, but I keep having kids. And then I go, oh, I can't do that now. I don't want them to
Now's
read
the time.
that. Maybe now, my youngest, I could now. But, I mean, the things that I've been through in my life are hair-raising, a lot of them, very hair-raising. I mean, I don't want to say the Me Too movement because I actually don't like that movement. And I seriously think if girls want to come out 20, 30 years later and say whatever they want to say, that's what they have to do. That's good for them. I couldn't do that, and I wouldn't do that, and I certainly... It's not that I wouldn't want to do it to myself. I mean, why bring it up and relive it, number one? And it's gone. And if the people are still alive, why ruin their lives? Nobody is the same person that they were 20 years ago or even 10 years ago. So I can't deal with that. But nevertheless, I've seriously, not just that, I've really, 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 in very many ways, had a very difficult and demanding and threatening life, and I suppose with God's help I got through it all because I'm still here. And moments where I just look back and go, why wasn't I murdered that night? That's kind of weird. I think also strength comes from adversity, and there has been a lot of adversity in my life, stuff that I think would possibly have made a lot of women crumble, and I didn't. So I don't know, I think that I am strong but have become stronger, and I don't know. I've always said to my children about strength that strength is supreme happiness, and it's also supreme sadness. And you have to have the two polar opposites in life to appreciate either of them or life. So I've always said to my children, whenever it's great or whenever it's terrible, just remember the only constant in life is inconstancy. You just have to kind of grab it and get on with it. I sound like Ronald Reagan, don't I? Grab it, get on with it. Give me that ball. Boom, boom.
Well, thanks for this chat, and thanks for such a inspired performance in this film.
You're
and I
really
can't wait to
kind.
share it with the world next year, if COVID allowing, to share the performance with the world. So
you know what? Ronald's spirit will come through and will allow it. Don't you worry.
Thank you, Lesley-Anne Down.
Thank you.